Hey, what's up? Trey, Lewellen here. I am excited because today is the first day and the first episode of Pain versus Pleasure. It's going to get a little crazy in here. Oh man, we already got people talking to us. So here's a couple things. Is today's Pain versus Pleasure, what are we going to talk about on today's podcast? Well, it's going to go like this. I want to talk about getting up before the freaking sun gets up. It's a little early, so before you shut this podcast off like I would have done a year ago, 2 years ago, I want to walk you through just a couple exercises that I do, basically my routine, and why it is changing my life, my body, my brain, a lot of cool stuff. So first off is I really got motivated to start getting up early with my girlfriend because that helped tremendously, especially when you have an accountability partner there every day. Not to say, maybe you have a girlfriend or a wife or a spouse that just doesn't want to get up at 5 a.m., you know? That's okay too. It's just going to be a little more tougher because when you look over there and you're like, man, you are sleeping in that cozy warm bed and I want to be in there with you. It's no fun, right? To be up at 5 a.m. before the sun. So the cool thing is what I found is you need something that's going to make you excited, that's going to get you jacked up to really bounce out of bed. Do I bounce out of bed? Heck no. I pretty much try to roll out of bed because I'm so tired, right? First off is I go to bed early, all right? 9 o'clock, I'm asleep. And the thing is a lot of you guys I think are staying up till 10, 11, 12, and that's cool. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you can operate on 6 hours of sleep. I realistically need around 12, but I tend to get 8, okay? So next thing is I want to make sure that you put something in front of you, like so you know why you're going to be excited to get up in the morning. And what for me is cream with coffee. So I don't really allow myself to drink coffee during the day, but I know it's a treat. It's like a candy that I get to have. It's something I never give myself during the day. And so what I do is I say, okay, my reward for getting up at 5 a.m. is I'm going to go grab a coffee and I get to brew it along with some coconut cream. I got this coconut cream I put in it. It tastes amazing. It is like old kindergarten days when you've got your first sucker. You're like, holy smokes, this thing's amazing. So that's what my coffee tastes like, and I'm always excited to go get that. The other thing is you want to have something to do. You want to have something that you're going to make sure that you accomplish in that morning, and I would do that the night before, kind of set up everything out. Right now, during this podcast, I'm listening to Tony Robbins' Personal Power. Basically, it's a 30-day exercise where you get up every morning or whatever time you want to. Mine's in the morning at 5 a.m., and it's a recording. It's a 45-minute recording that I listen to, go through the exercises, and then jot down some homework. And so what I do, my routine is I get up in the morning at 5 a.m., all right? The other thing is I have an alarm. The alarm, I want to show you this. I use an iPhone alarm, and the one I use is when you go to your clock, and then there's world clock, alarm, bedtime. I click bedtime, and then it's in here where the options are, and it's called wake up sound, and I use early riser. Check this thing out. Let's see if we can actually make this thing hum a little bit. Oh, there it goes. See how calm and steady that is? How could you not wake up to that? That's just like the day has started. It is power day. It is ready to rock and roll and take over, take control, commit to this morning. And that's what I wake up to. So I got that. That helps. So the other thing is I used to lay it right next to me on by my bed. What I've been doing recently is I've been putting this on the opposite side of the room, which is extremely hard because you know like you're going to be extremely tired and you got to go and walk over there and grab it and turn it off. But about the cool thing is the time you got over there, you're already kind of awake. And secondly is I have 2 dogs. Kind of helps. So if you don't have a puppy, you need to get one because they will know that means food. I feed the dogs at 5 a.m., 5:15 once I get up. So they know that sound. They know, hey, it's eating time and he is not going back to sleep. I'm going to go pester him until he gets up and feeds me. Okay? So make sure that happens. So if you don't have puppies, there's a good reason for you. If you want one, then there's another good reason for you to get one. The other thing is, along with that, is I go to the restroom. So I get up, I turn the phone off, I immediately go to the restroom, so that way I'm even further from the bed, and then I walk downstairs and I feed the dogs. About that time, as I go start the coffee, and if I can get it to coffee, if I get that first sip in, I know I've made it. If I can't get that first sip in, it's a dirty black hole going all the way back down, right? I'll fall back asleep and I'll wake up at 8 and be like, there went the morning. So the other thing is the routine, right? Making sure that I do have something to do. So what do I do? What do I do from 5 to 7 a.m.? Well, from 5 to 5:15, I'm feeding the dogs, making the coffee, just kind of waking up. The other thing that's been really helpful is a robe. I didn't even think about this, but I was at Salt Lake, Utah at a cabin, and they gave us robes, and it was amazing. I've had this thing probably for 3 years, never worn it, and I put it on because it was extremely cold in the house, and I put it on. I gotta tell you, it was like having a warm blanket around me throughout the whole house, and it just made it easier because it wasn't so brisk cold walking around the freaking house. And so, what am I getting at? What does this even have to do with pain versus pleasure? Where's the title even come in to this whole podcast deal? Well, the thing is there's so much pain in getting up early. You're tired, you just want to lay there, the bed's so warm and the blankets are so cozy, and it's like, all I gotta do is touch that alarm clock and let it go, and I'm out for another three hours, which is the pleasure, right? So the pain is, do I wake up and get into working mode, or is the pleasure gonna overwhelm me of just sleeping here? And that's what you gotta ask yourself, because I go through that pain because I know on the other side of that pain is way more pleasure than sleeping in for 3 hours, because I'm definitely not going to remember that. Will it feel a little bit better? Possibly. But am I going to remember that sleep? No, it's going to be a dream, right, over the next 3 hours. So what I want to do is I want to empower my day by learning, educating, reading. So over the next 2 hours, what I'm doing is I am learning. The house is quiet. I have a little 4-year-old. He doesn't even get up till 7, so I get 2 to 3 hours just by myself or with the girlfriend, allowing myself to self-study. Okay, so right now, like I said, I'm going through the Tony Robbins. That takes about 40 minutes. From there, I'm awake, right? It's about 6 o'clock by that time. I go in, I have a rowing machine. I go and get on the rower for 10 to 20 minutes, get my blood pumping, get exercise, get the little sweat glands open, my heart rate up, and that way my brain is now fully functioning. So I have caffeine in me, I have blood flowing, my heart rate's up, I'm pretty much freaking awake. Next is I go back into my study and I dissect whatever it is I'm dissecting. So at this point in time in my life, right now, I know I want to go conquer book after book after book, but how can I be more efficient? I'm actually kind of a slow reader, so I want to be able to speed up my reading. I read about, I think, like 170 or 190 words per minute, and I feel that's really slow. So anyways, I want to get that like to 400 or 600 words per minute and just crush books and be able to retain more. So I thought, how could I strategically or systematically or engineer my way to read faster? Well, there's speed reading courses. So what I'm doing now is during that 30 minutes after rowing is I'm educating myself how to speed read. And from there, I'm going to go conquer even more books and propel myself into this year for 2018. So the pain, even though the pain is so great of getting up in the morning, the pleasure that I'm getting from just a great start to the day, being able to already have been up before the sun, that's number one, right? And then being able to educate myself and be able to feed my brain. I feel like I've accomplished so much, and it's barely sunny out by the time it's 7 o'clock. So I beat the sun up, I've exercised, I've educated my brain, all before 7. And I gotta tell you, most of the world is just waking up by the time I've had 2 to 3 hours of work in me. How cool is that? Thanks for listening to the first episode of Pain versus Pleasure. I encourage you to go out, try and get up an hour earlier. Try to get up 2 hours early. It's gonna be rough, it's gonna be tough, right? But the thing is it's not gonna start until you start. So go out there, conquer your day, and I'll see you on the next episode of Pain versus Pleasure with Trey Lewellen.